Welcome to the Hard to Kill review. We've been building up to this for almost a year now, and it's finally culminated into this pay-per-view. Well, let me give you that. This is a hard one to gauge, ladies and gentlemen, because of the implications of what has happened here. And I'll get to that at the end of this review. But I just want to say this. It is hard to gauge this pay-per-view. As easy as anybody's going to say, well, it's an incredible accomplishment. It is history. No, it's not about history from this here. This is about a promotion doing their job. And I'll explain that at the end of this review. Opening of this pay-per-view is Shamrock versus Men Fulton. Now, there wasn't that much behind this. And I'm not going to lie about this. I was not interested in this match. I wasn't. Even though, who was it that won? It was Shamrock who won it due to submission. Now, it was interesting, from what I could tell, that Shamrock might have actually popped out Men Fulton's shoulder. Because you can see the image right here where his arm seemed to be showing itself. Now, he could have just been stretching his shoulder out. Or this could have been a legitimate shoulder pop out. But at one point, and the majority of the match was submission. Even though it was very smash mouth. And I want to make this very clear. This entire pay-per-view was very strong style smash mouth wrestling. Yes, it had a lot of high flying in it. But it was all smash mouth. It was all hard impact. This is the weakest match of the entire show. But it had the most painful, supposedly, action of it. Now, like I said, Shamrock won it, but I really didn't care that much about it because it really doesn't give us anything for Shamrock. And if Men Fulton did get injured in this situation, didn't really help him either. But it's hard to tell. You guys tell me below if you believe he actually got hurt or not. I have not checked Twitter. I have not checked any feeds, so I don't know if he's legitimately hurt or not, if he went to a hospital or not. Now, the second match, which did, well, before I get to that, two things happened in this show. One, audio was bad in the very beginning and somewhat near the middle. Lighting, when it came outside, was not good. But the camera work wasn't too bad. So 2 out of 3 was not good. But it wasn't 100% terrible because they did fix the sound quality later. And they did at least try to make sure that when the camera was outside, they made sure there was at least enough light when they positioned the guys in the camera to be able to see outside. So I will give them that. Doesn't mean it was good. They should have had more lighting outside. And if it was aesthetic, it was dumb. If it was the arena itself, well, you got to go with what you got. X Division. We had Ace Austin versus Trey of the Rascals, and including his mom. Now, let me put it to you like this. I'm glad they're doing something with one of the Rascals. There ain't no lie about that. They have done nothing. Trey, Wiz, and Dez have done absolutely nothing. I have been bored with them. They have done nothing. But adding the dynamic of Trey's mother into this situation was actually a good thing. Because it has given us something more. The video packages have been good. So I have been a bit invested in it. And was the match good? Yes, it was. It was a very high-flying, heavy-handed match. It was way better than the Shamrock Men Fulton match. It just was. If you guys liked the first match, I'm sorry. I can't agree with you, but more power to you. This match was far superior to it. And it did have Trey's mom in the situation, but I wish they had involved her a little bit more during the match. Not saying to smack Ace Austin or attack, but get up out of her seat more, scream about her son, or maybe better yet, she was at ringside, right next to the ring. Not sitting with the fans, but actually be with him there. I could have added more. In the end, I didn't expect Ace to lose here. I really didn't expect him to job. Because if they're going to perpetuate this story, it makes more sense for him to maintain. So guess what? He did not lose. He won. Trey leaves, but then Ace starts messing with Trey's mom. And the minute that he saw after he went up the ramp, he ran right back down and just started attacking Ace like crazy. You got Thornsberg, as well as the Luster. I can't remember his name. It's been a while since I thought about Rhino Scum. But essentially speaking, once you saw the rest of the Rascals and Rhino Scum come down, you know this isn't over yet. And the question is going to be how far they're going to escalate this feud. I'm hoping they'll really do more video packages. They will show Trey legitimately losing his shit. Losing his mind, wanting to protect his mother. And his mother being more interactive with the Rascals, giving us something more than just some funny moments. Something a little more important. That's just me. You guys tell me below. Next, we got the triple threat for the Knockouts Championship. Ty Valkyrie versus ODB versus the Jordan Grace. Now, I gotta admit this because I don't really look at dirt sheets. I don't really keep up with a lot of wrestling because, as I've always stated, for me personally, if I delve too deep into something, I lose the enjoyment of it. I'd rather just be somewhat ignorant, but still know what I'm talking about. So when I heard that ODB actually lost her food truck, I'm going like, she really did? Now, you guys can tell me if I'm wrong or not, but she lost her food truck. She came back to Impact Wrestling, but her food truck either got damaged or got stolen, whatever. I don't know what happened. You guys can tell me below. So for her, this situation is kind of a double good thing. She's still making money in wrestling. She's going to get her food truck back. And now she has a chance at the Knockouts title, becoming the fifth. The thing that was getting me was I did not want to see an ODB become champion right now. It was way too soon. I was not fond of it. A 5-time champ, yeah, I'll be cool and I'll be down for it, but I don't want to do it now, particularly she's got no storyline, nothing, unless they're going to use her truck, her food truck, as the story. Then I would understand it, but they've never said anything. We barely know anything about it, so this is what you get. The person I wanted to win was Jordan Grace. I'm not going to lie about it. This is what I believe because of the story she's been in for almost a year now, easily. It would make sense that she has progressed enough that she should have already won the title. But if they had to drag it out, this would have been the perfect time for her to drop it. Was the match good? Yes, it was. I did enjoy the match a lot. And unfortunately, I could not catch ODB's clothing open up and all that juicy cleavage is showing. Sorry guys. Unless I can catch a replay of it and try and catch it before I do the editing of this video, maybe I'll try. But those boobies were all over the damn place. I was enjoying them when I could see them. But Taya retains. And here's the problem with me personally. Taking away from the match quality, look, I love Taya. She's a great wrestler. She has a great persona. I've enjoyed the persona. I even enjoyed some of the stories that she's been involved in. But as it stands, after 370 days, I think it's time for her to drop it. Because honestly, what does she have to do? She's done nothing. I don't see anything for her. But Jordan Grace will make some sense because then Taya would have something to fight about. She lost her title. Now she's mad. She's with Bravo. They got to do whatever every type of scheming, every type of anything to try and get the title back. And then you could still throw ODB in the mix. Along with maybe Akira Hogan. I don't care. You could still throw her back into it. But as it stands, with Taya staying champ, really don't see anything good. That's just me. You guys can tell me below. Here is the match that was just, what the hell did I just see? I still can't. RVD versus Brian Cage. What did I just watch? The interview with RVD. Cena make out with I can't believe I'm blanking on Forbes first. Kelly's Forbes. There you go. I don't know why I blanked. Maybe it's due to the fact I'm looking at her ass. It is such a lovely ass that is so hard not to lose your mind looking at that body. She's, I think, 20 years or 30 years younger than him. No, she's at least 20 years younger than him. And lucky bastard. But seeing that their real life, I'm glad they're using real life relationship. I'm glad during the match, both matches, well, not both matches, I'll get to that in a moment, that she was involved in the entire situation, which works perfectly. I'm just wondering how far they're going to go with RVD. I really want to know, because I do like his heel character right now. I'm enjoying his heel character. He earned everything he's got. He hasn't lied. A lot of what they've been doing for the last 25 years has been emulating several people, and he's one of them. So him being arrogant, saying, you owe everything to me, makes sense. I'm enjoying it. But I want to know how far they're going to go with this. Because eventually they got to do something more with him just getting a harem. But let me get to the match. Well, sort of. When Brian Cage came down, he didn't even get a chance to wrestle. He got laid out, got beaten up, and then his mouth started bleeding. And since he was so screwed up, he could not wrestle. Now, during the interview, when pretty much Kelly took over from the interview, I can't remember who she is. I haven't really seen her much. I admit I have not been keeping up with Impact when it came to the new interviewer because of this. It's been hard to think because my mouth still hurts. It's getting better though. But still, seeing that Daga came out and Daga was at the interview, you wonder what they're going to be doing with Daga when Cage was completely laid out. He got his ass beat up. He got a chance to wrestle with a legend. And in the end, he got beat. Now, does this mean that Cage is finished with... I don't know what they're going to do with RVD. I'm enjoying him. This other woman that was dancing with Kelly is interesting if she's going to start messing with him as well. He can have more than one woman. I just don't know how far they're going to go with him. Because as it stands, if they push it hard, they can really do something interesting with RVD along with Kelly and this other woman. And if you're still going to bring in Daga, you're still going to bring in Brian Cage, I would be alright with that if it means something. But it's very hard to know what's going to happen. Now, I think the most hardest match of the entire show, and I know a lot of people are not going to agree with me, was Elgon versus Eddie for the Call Your Shot trophy. Now, Elgon supposedly stole the trophy from Eddie a couple of days before. So it's alright. Cool. This match was a lot like the first one, but even amped even higher. This is strong style. Very little flying. All incredibly hard hitting. No selling. And I know a lot of this show was no selling because they did a lot of strong style. This is strong style wrestling right here, ladies and gentlemen, where you don't sell, but you got huge amounts of smash mouth, huge amounts of high impact, very little high flying, and some wrestling. There was some wrestling done. But it is just all high impact. And I think this was the most highest impact of the show for me personally. I was worried when I saw this on Friday and there was no build up into this. Because seeing a repeat of what they did before, I would get upset. But seeing that this was a damn good match and it did have a stip, I'm alright with a stipulation and a repeat of the match if it's going to give someone something. But then you have Elgon not win. Now, here's the thing. I'm torn on this. It makes sense to keep Eddie with the trophy because he can easily go into the world title, which I have been speaking about. But in this situation now, where Elgon would seem to be a better, more interesting opponent to the new champion that I'll get to later, I think this wasn't the wisest thing to do. I know it seems like the wise thing to do because it's Eddie and he's now going after the new champ, and I'll explain later. I do believe that Elgon might have been a much more interesting opponent. But this is just me. You guys tell me below if you believe that's true. The match I didn't really care that much about at all. Even less. And I'm not taking anything away from Moose and Rhino in the no DQ match where the spear and the gore were supposedly against one another. I'm not saying it. But the thing is, I didn't really care. Yes, RVD got beat by Moose, and then Moose rubbing it into having that story of Moose messing with Rhino just because he got beat by RVD is extremely weak. I'd rather him being a legend killer. I want him to say, I'm the new legend killer. I just beat RVD. Are you next? Are you next, Rhino? He could have said, I'm a new legend killer. I am the one who's going to beat anybody who's a legend in this company or outside this company. It's not one person that's better than me. Not one. And they don't, and if I'm understanding correctly, WWE does not have the control of legend killer. At least as far as I know. Impact should be able to use the same word. Use the same phrase. Legend killer. It should be able to do it. And Moose should have been allowed to do that. And that's what I think is missing. His persona is a legend killer. He's destroying legends. And he just beat Rhino in this match. Which wasn't a bad match, but I didn't care because there wasn't enough. But this is just me. Now, the tag match. Oh, almost forgot. I did enjoy seeing that Moose grab the ref and protected himself from the gore going into the table. I believe I have that shot. But I will say this. They were a little bit too anxious bringing out the second ref. I gotta admit that. I think they should have waited a little bit before they rushed another ref out to be able to count. Because that was a little too staged. That's just me. Now, the tag match of the North going against Willie, because I think it was Bash at the Brewery 2, where Rich got hurt because of OVE. Suppose he got hurt there. So, conveniently, you got that set up unless it was an actual injury. I don't know, you guys can tell me below. Was this a good match? Yes, it was. Seeing Willie Mack, a guy who is not a skinny guy, pull off most of what he did and then did a Super Canadian Destroyer was epic. I'm not gonna lie. Willie is an incredible wrestler. I really hope he doesn't go to WWE because I don't know if he's gonna be happy there. I truly believe he will not be happy. That's just me. You guys tell me below. I do not want to see him go. I don't want to see him go to NXT. I don't want to see him go to SmackDown, Raw. I don't care. I don't want to see him go NXT UK. I don't want to see him go near it. Let him stay in Impact Wrestling and do something more. Let him get the X Division. I really would like to see him get the world title. Or go to AEW or NWA for that matter. Let him go to NWA for a short stint. I would love it. But in the end, he did not win the match. The North won. But what does this give the North? They have almost no tag teams to go up against. And it's sad. I don't know. I just feel really bad that Impact Wrestling, who really catered to people like the X Division and the Tag Division, has no Tag Division. And it just feels empty. Now, let me see if I'm forgetting anything. No, I don't think I'm missing anything. If I am, I'm sorry. Final match of the night. Tessa versus a Sammy. The video package was great. The build-up of the video package was great. Getting into the ring was good. Seeing that Sammy punt kicked her from the very opening to get it over with the signature move, and then she did her signature move, I think helped the match. Because we were expecting them to do it, they did it very quickly, and then they moved on doing other moves. This was a very smash mouth match. This was the second most roughest match of the night for me personally, because it was telling a story. It was telling a story of a woman, which shouldn't be telling a story, period, of a woman. It could have just been a smaller wrestler, but they made this so apparent about her being a woman that it sucked. I'm sorry, guys. I'm not sexist at all. But this is not about women's wrestling. This isn't. This is not even about a woman getting the world title, which I will say this, the match was done very well. You got at least several moves that were done well, including a Canadian Destroyer, a cutter. I think there was 2 or 3 Canadian Destroyers, at least 2 cutters. You got at least 3 Magnums done. And then you got the, what was it? The Cactus Special, at least done twice. And seeing all that spit on Sammy's face was, ugh. But it should be in my face. But it added to the story. Seeing that they were not holding back on this match. That even though there are kids in this audience, they were cursing their asses off. They were saying, fuck you. Who the fuck you think you are, bitch? That was the stuff that was being spoken in the arena by Sammy himself. And Tessa was cursing at Sammy as well, saying, screw you, fuck you, bitch, whatever. It didn't make a difference. They were going all out. And this truly helped the match in its story. Because Sammy was not holding back on the hits he was giving her. He was knocking around like crazy. He was throwing around like crazy. He was smacking around like crazy. He didn't really smack her, but you got my point. Everything they could do to make this match mean something really helped the match and got everyone invested, including a lot of women in that audience. I saw a lot of women, young girls, they were screaming for Tessa, which is alright. Like I said, I'm not sexist. I'm glad a lot of women feel so exonerated that a woman finally won a world title in a major promotion for men as well as women. And Tessa did a great job. She sold her injuries well until the end, which she's supposed to not sell it, and really put every effort to show that she is worthy of the title. But here's the thing. They have now pulled the trigger. Impact Wrestling, Anthem. And the most important thing, which no one I think is going to understand except myself, the creative team. I'm sure someone's going to talk about this, but this is what it's going to come down to. Will you care about a Tessa Blanchard? Because what this really comes down to is not Tessa being over. She's already over. This is not about Sammy being over. He's already over. And I doubt the story between them is going to be over in the next couple of months, particularly going into Rebellion, their next pay-per-view. This ain't going to be over. Sammy's going to try and get the damn title back, and we all know this. But this is the question. Can the... Calm. It angers me. I still say Tessa didn't go about this properly. Yes, I know a lot of people are going to say, who gives a damn if you like it or not? She got the damn title, fuck you. I'm sure some will think that of me. But I'm seeing this in a long term where it would set up properly. She could have won the X Division, held it for a couple of months, then could have cashed it in as option C, and then gone after Sammy, and proved herself in between the time that she earned the right to be champ. She wasn't a Daniel Bryan. Nope. She didn't have the rise of Daniel Bryan. They used her sex, her gender, as the Daniel Bryan angle, which was wrong. She was not a China with a faction like DX. They didn't go down that route. Very barely they did that. Barely they did it with the ECW originals. And they didn't do that with the Rascals. They definitely didn't do it with LAX. That would have been the best option. Hell, the best option would have been her going against Brian Cage, and she was alive with OVE and be a heel, because she plays a very good damn heel. She does. It took me some time to grow into it, but I do know that she does a good heel. Much better than the face. That's just how I feel. Ooh. But when it really comes down to is this, Can the creative team of Impact write for her? This is where this is going to be the biggest question. Look at Eric Young. Years ago, before he went to WWE, he was given the opportunity just like a Daniel Bryan. Everyone loved Eli. Everyone believed Eli deserved to get the world title. They did. I did. And everyone was happy he finally got it. He had the X Division title one time. He had, I think, the TV title a couple of times. Hell, he had the women's knockout titles. And he also had the tag titles. He never had the main title. And he had it. But they didn't write anything for him. And his rise became a flop. Because Impact, or TNA at the time, could not write themselves out of a paper bag. Now you have Impact Wrestling under Anthem with new writers. And the question's going to be, can they write for her? Can they write good storylines for her? Can they write good storylines for the people that she's working with? Will they pair her up with the right people? She cannot stick with Sammy forever. Eventually, she's going to have to work with someone else if she maintains the title more than 2 months. Because this is what it's going to come down to. You can't keep Sammy with her forever. That'll be like aces and eights. And when it comes down to it, if we do not find out, this is so hard. I'm not mad 100% about her winning the title. I'm glad she won it. She worked hard. She's been working with the men for almost 8 to 9 months. Getting her ass beat up. Hell, she had a nasty shiner on her eye. But the question's going to be, will the creative team write properly for her? Because she is over with many of the men and women in the wrestling industry. I'm sure right now Twitter's blowing up because she won the damn title in a damn good match. But if Impact can't write for her, this was a waste of time. Because it'll end up just like Eli. Eric Young, who is supposed to be a feel-good moment in Impact's side, like an equivalent of a Daniel Bryan, which would have worked if he had great writing with great people to work with. And he did not. So the question's going to be, are you going to care after 3 months with Tessa? Are you going to care? Not because she's a woman, because this is not about her gender anymore. This is about if the writing team on Impact is going to write properly for her and her opponents. Because if they don't, this was a joke. And I'm going to call it a freaking joke. And I'm going to call it bullshit. Because as it stands right now, I don't know if it's going to work. Going into 2020, it may work out and she may hold the title for 6 months. And as it stands, that could really help Access TV. Having something totally unique. Having a woman as champ with really good writing for the show. Circling around her. Making sure not only she's done well, but all her opponents are brought up as well. Eddie's being brought up properly. Brian Cage is being brought up properly. Hell, Willie Mack or maybe a Rick Swann being brought up properly. You could have any members of OVE. They got to be written properly. If they're not written properly, this was a joke. How was the show? All around, it was a good show. I'll say about 80% of the show was good. 20% was the sound and the lighting was an issue because when they went outside the ring, you couldn't see them very well. But at least the rest of the show was pretty damn good. You could easily watch it more than once. I would say the matches to see. Elgon and Eddie, definitely. The women's triple threat. If you don't like all the women in there, at least you'll be able to look at a nice pair of boobs from ODB, as well as the Taya Valkyrie. A couple of times you saw a lot of cleavage and a lot of butt. But for me personally, if you don't care about that, it was a good women's match. Easily comparable to an NXT match for me personally. And when it comes to the Tessa match, you can easily say it was a good feeling moment with a very good story. But it's just me. Have a good day. Have a good night. Peace.